You didn't have Derek today, but was everybody else a full go?
Yes. Everybody else participated today. It was good to see. It wasn't the prettiest of practices, but I mean, practice shouldn't be pretty, I guess. So, yeah, everybody's back, and that's we planned everything that we've done, over the last couple of months, with that in mind, that we want to get to this point in our training month where everybody can be healthy and we can really go into the season with all of our guys. And we're still some days away, but it's looking good.
Do you have a number in mind about how many players you want per game? You go 8 deep, 9. This year you have a little more depth. Do you know yet how you're going to play it, or is it going to be a game feel type of thing?
Yeah, I think it's more feel. I've played. Most of the coaches I played for, have trusted, more than just 8 guys to carry the load. So I'm, guys that prove themselves every day in practice and, show that they can help the team. I don't see why you can't play, 9 or 10 or maybe sometimes 11 guys. May not be a lot of minutes, but I think it's important for you to have some balance to the minutes throughout the season, because you're going to need guys 9, 10, and 11, sometimes even 12 in the playoffs. You never know, and so everybody should be ready every night to contribute.
When you look at Aaron, I know you've talked about what he brings defensively, but it seems like over the course of his career, he's had success. The mid-range jump shot and operating in the post. I know that would be effective in any offense, but particularly for what you guys do. Is that one of the things you were looking at when wanting to bring him in here? How effective do you think he'd be defensively?
No, I mean, I think just his overall presence, how much of a pro he is, how serious he takes his job. We knew that would kind of push our group forward. To add another guy that takes this very seriously, that wanted to be here in New York, wanted to be on the Knicks. And there's just a brand of physicality that he plays with on both ends of the floor that we thought would be good for us. We didn't necessarily, I think, single out, whether it's mid-range or at the post, etc. But we felt like he had an all-around game that would complement, whatever style we chose to play or however our roster looked.
How big a difference do you think it's going to make for Langston, not only second year in the league, but actually being here at the start of camp, playing a whole preseason, getting to know the guys, the system, and everything? Do you see that as just a tremendous benefit that he didn't have last year?
Yeah, I mean, I think a year of experience for sure, has helped him. But I think he also worked really hard between, May, June, July, and then preparing for training camp. So, he's noticeably better as a player. And so I think it's a combination of those things that has allowed him to, come in and really be confident about who he is and what he's trying to do. And, we think that he's going to be able to help us, as a legitimate contributing player on our team.
Has anything surprised you about this team in preseason?
No, not really. Not really. I think that they're showing a level of connectedness and desire to play a team game and, kind of utilize everybody's strengths to our advantage. And they haven't been too high or too low. So, not really surprised, I guess, in the preseason. I don't think you can be surprised because you shouldn't expect too much in the first place. But so far, they've shown consistency with who they've been at least all summer. And that's just a hard-working group that enjoys, playing basketball together.
What are some of your objectives that you want to accomplish for the rest of this preseason, especially leading up to that first game?
Yeah, I mean, continuing to make sure we're staying healthy. Definitely nightmares of not starting healthy last year, still reign supreme. So we want to make sure that main guys are healthy. Second part of it is because they're healthy at this point in the preseason, our practices should start to, not necessarily improve in terms of how they look, but guys that are going to be, either starting or 7, 8, 9, 10-man rotations, we can start kind of setting those things in place. And so hopefully not just Thursday night, but by the time we get to next Wednesday, we have a better rhythm of how to play basketball together. And these guys can kind of start figuring out how they can win together.
Do you think this is a good amount of time for a team to get ready for the season? amount of preseason games and the chunk of time for training camp?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, traditionally it's been 8 games, and everybody's kind of gone through the 8 game, kind of process, and so we'll see. We didn't really get overly concerned when our schedule kind of ended up being 6 games. We thought it would give us more training days and more days to kind of build our team, and so we'll see. We've had some injuries and guys not probably where they could be in terms of conditioning, but I think everybody gets the same amount of days basically to be prepared for opening night. So for us, regardless of the number of games, we should be ready.
Chris, I forget when he told me, but he said that you guys recommended to him that he not play internationally over the summer during the World Cup. Why was that? Can you take us through that recommendation and why you told him that wasn't a good idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think many teams are basically not trying to say to a guy that it's mandatory that you not play.
Right. He made clear it wasn't mandatory, but
right.
That was a recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea was that if he chose to play, obviously we would support him and support his country. But if he chose not to play, that we really would get a chance as an organization and as a group to really kind of put our arms around starting his development right away and not having to wait until after his national team commitment to start with the weight training and some of the different things that he needed to do. We felt like that would help him in his first year. So, we'll see if that really helped or not. But that was at least the idea behind it.
So it had nothing to do with potential for fatigue?
No, not at really 19. I don't think it's a fatigue thing or a wear and tear thing. But I think just preparing for a season, we knew and he knew that he wanted to add some weight and add some strength. And, commitment to the national team is a commitment. And so, we offered basically, like you said, and suggested that give it a thought. And, he decided that was in his best interest.
Based on who's here and what you know so far, how do you guys approach keeping the full 15 on the roster versus having a spot where, sometimes you just bring someone else in, you have that flexibility?
Yeah, I mean, last year we started with 15. I mean, I don't know if it hurt us or not. It's more, Phil and Steve kind of, I think, thinking about how the roster should or should not remain flexible in terms of 15 or 14. Obviously all 14 or 15 guys don't necessarily play night in and night out. But we'll have to see. I mean, we don't necessarily want to just arbitrarily go to 14 and maybe lose a good player. So, I think we'll kind of evaluate it as we go through this week, and ultimately Phil and Steve will make the decision as far as, who stays and maybe who doesn't.